You know, like, we've told our story. Invincible has gone on this journey, and it's lasted for way more years than anyone ever expected it to. And, you know, there is a thing to be said about hopefully going out on top and giving people a satisfying conclusion, which, you know, Invincible should be the only superhero comic that gives you a satisfying conclusion. I like that. I'll take that.
Hello and welcome to the Invincible podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan, and with me today we have Bill.
Hello.
And TJ.
Well, shit.
Well, there's not much in terms of news. It was a pretty slow week. Bill, I heard you went to the fair.
Yeah, it was exciting. There were some rides, some cows.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you get some good food?
Yeah, I got a corn dog.
How funny it would be if we went the entire episode and didn't even mention it.
The news.
Yeah, so there was some pretty big news to this week. A really big announcement pertaining Invincible. But for those of you who are just tuning into the podcast, if you've never listened before, we are a group of friends who are passionate about Invincible, who wanted to start a podcast where we get together and talk about it, you know, discuss the new issues that come out and go in detail and talk about where we think, you know, the story's going to go next. And we have a few different types of episodes out there. You know, we have the new issue episodes once a month or whenever they release a new issue, and where we talk about those issues in detail. We have character discussions. We talked about like what it would be like as a movie, and we have another series called New Reader, where, you know, I get together with two of our friends, one of which is Bill's wife, and we follow along as they read Invincible for the first time, which is a great series in which, you know, a lot of people, fans of Invincible, love to, you know, share Invincible and
experience it over again.
They wish they can re-experience it all over again. So that's what that's for, and it's great.
You can find our podcast on iTunes. We're on Stitcher, and it's and on SoundCloud, and we release it as of right now. We have been and will continue as of now to release it every other Friday.
Yep. If you want to be a part of the show, if you want to write in, let us know, you know, how we're doing, or email your thoughts of what's currently going on in Invincible. You can email us. Our email address is theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter. I bounce around the Reddit page. So that being said, let's jump into today's topic. As of this recording, yesterday was when Robert Kirkman, on August 17th, released a letter announcing the end of Invincible. It will be ending with issue
144.
144. That'll be 12 issues of Ryan Ottley. So after 3 issues, the next 3 issues of Cody Walker's arc, Ryan Ottley will be taking over for a 12-part series called The End of Everything,
which is going to start in November. Which means the end, if they come out
once a month,
should be the very end of next year.
Mm-hmm.
Which when did they release the next name of the arc? You saw it.
Yeah. So we'll get.
It was the day we recorded our last new
and
issue.
you said something like, "Bill, this is what I think." I'm like, "You're fucking crazy,
so, yeah,
Ryan."
I mean, the last time we all got together that night, or, you know, the next day, we found out that at San Diego Comic-Con. They released or mentioned that the next arc is going to be called The End of Everything. And I texted Bill and TJ, and I was like, maybe we should change the podcast or go in and edit and talk about this, because this is a big deal. This might be something. And we'll get into, you know, all that in a little bit. But, you know, this, you know, I saw the signs, and
they opened up your eyes.
So yesterday, I saw the news, and I immediately sent a message to both of you guys with the link and let you read Kirkman's letter, which is amazingly well written, obviously. But I kind of want to get your guys' initial reactions. Your initial reactions yesterday, not how you feel today, but yesterday, after you read the news. How did you feel, Bill?
Me first?
Go for it.
I felt sick to my stomach. I think what everybody else felt was extremely sad. Like when I listened to or read it, I don't remember which one I did, and everything that Kirkman said, like, it just made me mad. Like, I'm like, this is just an excuse. Like, you just want to move on and do other things. And I was angry, but obviously the more I sat on it, the better I felt. But initially, I can't even really experience it. And I feel like everybody felt that way. Because it's been, how long has the comic been going on for?
This will be, I think, 13 years.
13 years?
Yeah.
That's insane. Mm-hmm. Like, it's selfish of me to think anything other than it coming to an end. But I don't even know, man. I just sat on my couch. I just sat there.
Oh, you had off yesterday, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I at least had work to kind of distract me. But work was busy, so I was, like, between Twitter and Reddit and, like, all the news, like, talking to you guys, it was hard to work. But it was definitely a gut
punch.
And the whole day, you know what I mean? I went to bed, like, and it was still a gut in my stomach and my head was racing.
Isn't that weird? It had like such a weird physical.
It was really weird. I'm glad that wasn't just me.
No, it was TJ. How'd you feel?
So I just recently started. I was promoted at work, and I started. Unfortunately, the promotion led me to an overnight shift, which I've started about 2 weeks ago. So I got home this particular day, yesterday, when it was announced. I had to get stuck at work 3 extra hours in the morning. Didn't get home until about 10. Didn't get to bed until about 11 in the morning. Normally I'm in bed by 8:30. Fell asleep about 11 in the morning. At 1 o'clock, my phone exploded. I reached over and was like, what the fuck is going on? I had news reports. I had Facebook reports. I had a group text message from you guys. I had tweets from Ottley. I had everything. My phone, it was just a whole list of things, and it was all pertaining to the same thing.
What time was this at?
This is about 1 o'clock.
So you're
in the afternoon.
Right.
When you wake up.
Afternoon.
Okay, got it.
Right.
So
no, that's not when I wake up. I got 2 hours of sleep. And my reaction is basically to tell you that I couldn't get back to sleep.
Well, did when you saw all those notifications, did any of them say what it was, or did you just see a ton of notifications, like, you know, the Twitter notification that Ottley tweeted, the Facebook notifications? Did any of them say what it was, or did you just know there's a ton of Invincible stuff happening? What was your initial reaction? Did you know what it was?
No, well, first of all, like I said, I woke up after 2 hours of sleep and like rolled over. So when I saw all the shit, I just I don't even remember what I picked. I think it was the group text message from you guys, and I just scrolled it over on my iPhone and went up to the top where the conversation started and just read it. And I was extremely sad. This comic has been, everything to us. And obviously enough for us to start a podcast, enough for us to read it for as long as we've been reading it. And I actually went 48 hours with only 2 hours of sleep. I couldn't get back to sleep. The first thing I did actually was I pulled out the first graphic novel, and the very, very, very first page, the very first thing ever said in Invincible ever was Mark Grayson, or Invincible, saying, you really ruined my afternoon. And I'm like, fucking tell me about it, Invincible. So, I was devastated.
Yeah,
very sad.
It was weird. Now I kind of feel like I almost feel a little prepared, because you mentioned, Bill, I saw the signs. When I saw that it was called The End of Everything, I was like, oh, if I were to end a series, that would be a great title to end it on. A great, title of the arc. And then I thought, wait, 12 parts, that's a pretty big, event. Nothing else has done that. Even The Walking Dead Whisper War right now is 6 parts. Mm-hmm. 12 parts is a lot. If I were to end it, that would be a pretty cool way to end it on. And then I was like, wait a minute, 12 parts would be issue 144. That's the exact number of issues to make it a third compendium and a 12th or whatever hardcover. I'm like, that's exactly how Kirkman would end it. Because he intentionally makes big endings at the end of compendiums, at the end of hardcovers and trades and everything like that. So I'm like, damn it, this is going to happen. And I was like, I had a feeling like this might be it. And but but then I thought about it for a while. And I was like, Kirkman does his hyperbole, the death of everyone. Reboot.
Yeah.
When they showed off Bulletproof as Invincible. It's like, and that's funny because that's actually what Kirkman talks about in the video, which is an awesome video where he basically reads the letter. I mean, he pretty much says what he, wrote down for the letter. And he actually talks about how that is Invincible. I mean, the whole thing leading up to it has been playing on tropes, comic book tropes, like, we're rebooting the character, now Thor's a woman, or now we're rebooting the whole Invincible universe, just like New 52 or Rebirth or something. And I kind of like that. I mean, I like that, I like what he said about this is the most Invincible thing Invincible could do, would be to end. Instead of being the normal superhero comic book that goes on and gets bad and then gets okay, and then the artists change and the writers change, and eventually it just kind of whittles away and becomes this thing. The most Invincible thing for it to do would to play on that trope and end. And that's kind of where I'm at now.
That's where you are now. That wasn't your first reaction to be.
No, my first reaction, I kind of agree with Bill. It was that gut punch, and my first reaction was kind of I kind of saw this coming in a way. Like, and of course, my head was racing, and my stomach had a knot in it, and it was crazy. And then it was just the rush of media and talking to everybody, and I went to bed with my head racing. And then I woke up this morning, and I talked to my brother on the phone, who had just started reading Invincible about 2 months ago. And I was explaining it to him because he didn't hear the news yet, and I told him about it. And while I was explaining it to him, I found myself like rationalizing it to him and explaining to him why this is a good thing. And then I drove to work, and I tweeted this out earlier today. I was like, last night my head was racing, but this morning I woke up excited. Like, I'm stoked now. So 24 hours later, and this is so exciting. I haven't been this excited about Invincible since Conquest. I'm so excited for the next 15 issues, especially, once Ottley starts up. This is going to be such a ride, and it's going to be so fun. Bill, how do you feel now that it's been 24 hours?
The same exact way. Like, I had a lot of time to think about lots of other things that have drawn out too long, and where I stopped paying attention to them. But I'm excited too. And I appreciate the fact that this is announced over a year before it actually happened.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Like, I feel like
not 6 months. Like, this
how many shows and TV shows and everything just end with them giving you, like, I don't know, hey, in 3 months it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you get no notice.
Or a shitty like X-Files did it. Like, they just did a reboot. Or not a reboot, but they came back on.
Yeah.
And it was like 6 episodes or something like that. And this is what it reminds me of, a lot of things where everything up until the final 3 episodes was just garbage. And then the last 3 were like, oh, by the way, this is the end. You know what I mean? And that's not how X-Files is going to continue. But I'm excited that Kirkman respects his fans enough to let them know this far ahead. Get excited about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get excited about it. Like, it gives us enough time, because a lot of people would flip cars and fucking burn buildings down if they found out a month beforehand that it was going to be the last fucking issue.
And not only that, but I'm seeing a lot of people talking about how this could be a money thing. It could be the fact that the sales aren't that great. And I don't know.
Do we even know? Do we know?
I'm sure out there.
They're not.
It's out there.
They're not,
I don't know if they officially say or whatever, but I'm not sure.
A year is a lot of time to invest in a comic,
the thing.
though.
Like, this is Kirkman's baby. He's always talked about how Invincible is his comic. Like, it's his favorite in a way. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And even if it wasn't doing good in sales, which, I mean, think of how many times Invincible has... think about how many times Invincible has done, like, new readers to jump on here, or, jumping on points, or this is what you've missed. They do a lot of those promotions to get new people to start reading. I don't think the sales are amazing for Invincible.
They're not.
I think they're okay.
I don't think they are.
Yeah, I think they're okay.
But I don't think it's enough to continue it.
And I think that Kirkman, I mean, obviously doesn't have an issue with money. I mean, but I think business-wise, maybe it is right to end it. But the fact is, he loves Invincible so much, he's giving it a year, like you were saying. He's giving, plenty of time to actually, like you said, Bill, to
Let it sink in.
And let everybody get excited about it. What do you think? TJ, did you actually, do you think...
24 hours later.
Yeah, do you think that it's sunk in for you?
I actually have a lot to say about how I feel now, and it's actually not much different than my initial response. There's nothing we can really do about this. It's ending. They've announced it. It's going to happen. And I totally understand being positive about it and just kind of accepting it. But yeah, I don't really feel much different than I did yesterday. I mean, I'm excited to see how it's going to end, but an ending is not something that I was really missing from this book. I don't read Batman thinking, geez, I want to see an ending. I'd rather just see another story arc. I want it to continue. I know that Kirkman said in the video, in the letter, that, this is, I think he said something along the lines of Invincible deserves an ending. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't think that Kirkman is ending this because he thinks it's a cool, edgy way, like a cool thing for Invincible. You know what I mean? He's doing it because he mentioned Ryan Ottley wants to do other things.
Yeah.
He's probably busy with that terrible show on AMC, and I'm thinking that he's got a lot to do with Outcast. He's busy, and I get that. But yeah, I'm sad, and I can't help but to be a little pissed off, and I don't really have anybody to be pissed off about. I'm just mad about it. You know what I mean?
You're just angry and you don't know what to do.
I'm not really mad at Kirkman for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely in understanding of everything that they're saying. With that being said, my excitement for the final issue is I have a theory that I call the dollhouse theory.
Oh yeah.
There's a show that me and Ryan watched.
Was a show.
It still exists. It's on Netflix, and I suggest that you go to it. It's over, but it's still there.
Joss Whedon.
I've always been a huge fan of Joss Whedon. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was one of my favorite shows growing up. He did a show called Dollhouse with Eliza Dushku, and it started out and it was a very, very good show. It got a second season. Half of the second season was a very good show, and then Fox announced that it was going to be canceled and that they could finish out their season, mm-hmm. but it was going to get canceled. Halfway through the second season, when they realized that it was going to get canceled, the show got fucking insane. Joss Whedon put every idea into that show that he wanted to put into that show, and just kind of crammed it in there, but it didn't feel crammed. It was perfect, mm-hmm. and it was insane. And that's what I think that Kirkman's going to do with this 12 issue ending. It's going to be nuts, and I can't wait to see it. But again, I'm still not.
Yeah, it still
sucks.
Yeah, but it is leading up, and he even said the more that he wrote, every time it just felt more like it was heading towards this final conclusion, which is that the Viltrumite War with Thrag.
Honestly, if we're going to talk about this a little bit, I honestly think that Reboot was him setting up the ultimate ending with the blue creature that sent him back, warning of a great, mm-hmm. event that is to come that Invincible could have prevented. That is when Kirkman wrote that, I think Kirkman knew the series was ending. And then the break that they took after Reboot, my theory is that was, okay, let's take 5 months. Ryan, you get caught up, do your own thing for a little bit. It gives Ryan Ottley, and this Corey Walker thing gives Ryan Ottley a head start, mm-hmm. and to get these, issues out, and to make them amazing, because he's going to. But that also gave them time to write. You got to think Kirkman spent those months where Invincible wasn't out preparing this and, tying all the loose ends. And that's what Kirkman says. He says he's going to tie everything together, and it's going to be an exciting, unexpected ending. While we're still on the topic of reactions, though, Bill, you said Skybound actually put out this cool thing today where they kind of compiled reactions across the internet to Invincible ending. Bill, there's a few that you wanted to read.
I think that a lot of people are sharing the same feelings that we have. One of the first ones to me is the funniest one. It's at Akasan said, how ironic is it that the night I start Invincible and Skybound announces that the series is ending, ... And he posted it at 11:23, August 17th, the day that it happened. You know, a lot of other people said, you know, all good things come to an end. At Wait Am said, no, just no, this is unacceptable. A lot of people...
Well, it's cool because they separated all those comments into, you know, here's some really sad ones, here's some funny ones, here's some optimistic ones, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, my heart breaks once again because Invincible hands down the best comic in the universe. Sad to see such a great comic book go.
Then there was, at the end of those, they actually did ones from other comic book creators, which I thought was really cool. Like Fiona Staples, she's the artist on Saga. It said she put 13 years and well over 100 issues. Ryan Ottley is the strongest and most dedicated artist in comics. I'm in awe. Then you've got you know comments from the artist from Chew, Eric Larson. But it was really cool, and it was neat seeing that.
There are many fans out there, for sure.
Yeah, we posted on Facebook yesterday too, and we have Scott Bodenhammer commented and said, simply put, the series is the only reason I still read comics. I have very mixed feelings right now. On one hand, I am upset that this great series is ending. This is one of the few series that I have ever read that I consistently could not wait for each new issue. On the other hand, I am really excited to see where these last issues go. The one perk of a series ending is that they have the opportunity to lay it all out on the line and deliver us a series that is top-notch from beginning to end. As far as your show goes, I am a relatively new listener, but I will definitely be with you guys for the rest of the journey. Zane Prague says, sad end to a great series. Just wish we had the chance to, quote, hate someone else's run of the series.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Well, there's two things. One, I saw a lot of people on Reddit and places talking about how this is kind of it for them in terms of going to their comic book shop once a month. And Bill, that's what you mentioned too. You were like...
When you texted me, I said, well, I guess I'm done with comics in a year and a half. Like, because honestly, and that's you know, we'll get into it a little bit later, but this, I mean, it's just... okay, I'll talk about it now, but like Invincible is one of those comics that it's all there. Like I don't have to read anything else to get Mark's story or the Viltrumite story. There's not another comic over here that I have to read, and that's, to me, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find another comic book like that other than like Walking Dead, but like a superhero, it's going to be hard. And for me, with the time that I have to actually read comics, with having a family and everything like that, like this was my one-stop shop, and that I meant it. Like I honestly don't know if there's going to be something else that is going to captivate me as much as Invincible ever will.
And then he also mentions what else did he mention? Shoot, I just forgot it. What did Zane say at the end of his email or his comment? He also mentioned.
He wanted a chance to hate.
Oh yeah, and that brings up like having and Kirkman mentions this too. Like Kirkman talks about how his answer was always, he wanted Invincible to become this thing that other writers take and butcher just like any other comment. And we mentioned that at the beginning of the podcast. But is that what you guys wanted? I mean, did you want to see another writer crack at it? Did you want to see another artist take a crack at it? And what does this mean for other things? Is Tech Jacket still going?
No,
it did end.
Because it was only a web series. Like it was.
That was only 3 issues.
They were releasing it digitally. Well, I was reading it digitally. Yeah. There has not been a new issue in a while. A long time.
So, and I know Kirkman did say that he is going to stretch this across all corners of the Invincible universe, in this finale. But I'm curious to what this means for other characters in the universe. Will we ever see them again? Did you want to see them again? Like how?
First of all, kind of going back to what Bill was saying about Invincible being all there, me being a Batman enthusiast, me reading Batman for years, the way I feel about this comic is that it's kind of a best kept secret. And that's why I love this comic, and that's why it's a little more personal for me. When it comes to passing the torch from Kirkman to somebody else. I would love to see somebody else's take on Invincible, but the risk. I don't want to see
not worth it.
Invincible done poorly, but it would depend on who's taking it over. But I mean, if you're asking me, we're gonna give it to somebody else randomly, and I don't have control over who it is, or we just stop it, I'd rather just have it end.
Yeah, I think even Kirkman at his best, he's gonna run out of ideas and he's gonna start to stretch. You know what I mean? There's only so much that you can come up with these people, you know. And
to kind of counter that point though, Bill, is look at Walking Dead. Walking Dead has officially gone on longer with the same writer and almost the same artist for the entire time. You know, similar. You know, they changed artists early on, but. And he hasn't run out of ideas for that. And this world is bigger, vaster.
That is up for argument, to be honest. Like TJ, you used to like gobble up Walking Dead too. How far are you behind?
Oh, very.
Would you ever be that far behind in Invincible?
No, I'm
Never.
agreeing. I'm saying that.
You know what I mean?
Saying that there are plenty of stories to tell in the Invincible universe. I think.
No, but I'm saying, it got to the point in Walking Dead where you are kind of like,
oh yes,
you know what I mean?
But
is the Invincible universe still going? Because I don't.
That comic? Oh
Yeah.
no, that was only like a 12-issue run or something.
But I mean,
Speaking of, I meant to bring this up at the beginning of the podcast. We're also going to cover tie-in comics and such like that on this podcast. We actually were completely ready to talk about Brit tonight or last night when we recorded, but obviously the news broke and we're talking about this instead. So we're excited to talk about all those other spin-offs, Astounding Wolfman and everything like that. But yeah, moving on, I have a question for both of you guys, and I'm going to answer as well. But what is the one thing that must happen before Invincible ends? Now, I'm sure we're going to have more conversations about this as it gets closer, especially right before we kick off the 12-issue event. But right now, in this moment of finding out that Invincible is ending, what do you go to? What is your go-to in your mind that it better answer this question or it better show this? What do you think of, TJ?
I don't really have any questions. I think that, I trust Kirkman to answer. I mean, I do have questions. There were things that we one thing that I brought up was the alien that could clone itself. It was just very small, and it was.
You wonder if that's something else.
I mean, they might not answer that. If they don't, I'm not like devastated about it. But the one thing that I think needs to happen, the one thing that I love about the final seasons of most TV shows, long-running TV shows, is the fact that there are cameos of characters previously in the season that come back, that they kind of get one last shot. And I know that my favorite characters are deceased. Angstrom Levy and Rexplode. We got to see Rexplode in Reboot, and that was awesome. But I'd love to see Angstrom come back. And I mean, with Rex being even more favorited than Angstrom Levy, I selfishly do want to see Rexplode again too.
In some form.
Yeah.
Bill, what would you say?
I thought that you were going to say this, and I think that you're going to say this, but it's a fucking future issue.
Yeah.
Where Immortal is the king, and we talk about it a lot.
I actually am not going to say that because I thought both of you would say it.
That's like the obvious answer, you know what I mean?
is.
But for me, that's the one thing, you know what I mean? Because continuity is such a big thing in this issue, or in this comic, that's the one thing that I thought.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
I hope, I wish.
I know.
What do you think?
I'm kind of torn. One little thing is Mark proposed to Eve. He gave her a ring.
On the
right?
wedding.
Yeah.
He did.
They have to get married. There has to be a wedding unless things go bad. I mean, but I'd love to see them married. And maybe it's just because I just got married. But I think that'd be a great thing. But kind of piggybacking off of what TJ said, though, especially with TV shows, their callbacks, the cameos and stuff like that. One thing I want something. It could be subtle, but I want something, some callback to the beginning. Now, I know we kind of got that with Reboot, which, again, thinking about it, Kirkman just gave us a taste of what it used to be like. probably when he knew it was going to be ending soon, which is smart of him. He also gave a taste of Corey Walker right before the series ends again. Like, this was all very telegraphed in a way, if you think about it. But I want there to be a mention, a nod to the beginning of the series. And one of the ways I was thinking would be mentioning to keep looking up, whether he tells Tara to look up or they mention looking up in some way. Listeners of the podcast know I love that phrase. That's something that Bill, when they got changed in the, by the dumpster in one of the first issues, they talk about how, normal people don't look up, but superheroes do. And the other thing, and I've thought about this today, and I thought about what will happen in the end, in the future. Eve won't live forever. Mark will. Tara is part Viltrumite, but mostly Viltrumite because of Viltrumite DNA. She'll be with him. So Mark has somebody that will live forever with him. And I just thought about that, and I thought it reminded me of Mark and his dad fighting, and Nolan saying, after thousands of years, what will you have left? And then I pictured Tara saying to Mark, you, Daddy. And I was like, like something like that.
You
think that Mark can't die?
I think that Mark and Nolan, they've talked about how they live for a lot longer than humans.
Right.
So I just mean in general.
He actually said 100 years from now, not 1,000 years.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
But everyone he loves will be gone, he said.
Kind of going off of what you're saying with a nod back to the beginning is, unfortunately, I feel like it was a little too early, but we did kind of get that with Reboot.
That's
he
what I'm
went
saying,
back
yeah.
and he was on the toilet, he was reading comics and I think we already got that. I don't know if that would have been a perfect final issue for him to somehow go back in time and be on the toilet and
No,
just kind of
I disagree. I actually think that was the perfect time for that, leading up to the final events.
But you want them to do it again in the 12 issue?
No, like a nod to like what they're saying.
Okay,
like
you're
something
saying
for the readers.
very subtle.
Yeah,
I got
something
you.
for the readers,
Okay.
not for physical.
Nothing
because
major.
There's going to be.
There has to be.
there will be.
It's going to be
then
heart-wrenching and
also,
gut-busting.
this isn't my one thing, even though we all said three things, but we've got to find out about the prophecy of the other battle beast.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's one
Right?
thing I was going to bring up because that's something I'm really
There
looking
is
forward to.
another, everyone. Maybe what Ryan Ottley wants to do, because he said maybe he wants to draw something other than Invincible, is just do like a Battle Beast fucking comic.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think, and judging by
I
what
think
Kirkman
Battle
said,
Beast is
I think
Otley's favorite.
I think this might be the end of the Invincible universe. I don't know if I want any other spin-offs or anything like that. Tie it up. Tie up everything. Give us a taste of everything. They have 15 issues, from now to, answer these questions to make us feel satisfied. I want at the end, after we've finished that final issue, I don't want to feel like we need anything else.
Here's the thing with a tie-in is this is a comic book. It's not a TV show. It's not like they can't get Mark Grayson back to play
Exactly.
Invincible. So if you're going to do a tie-in of, let's say, Battle Beast, you're in the Invincible universe. What's stopping you from putting Invincible in it? And if you can put Invincible in it,
Then it's
why
not
not
over.
just fucking continue
Exactly,
Invincible?
exactly.
So I agree. It needs to just end. No tie-ins. I don't want any tie-ins.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, we're going to move on to a couple emails. We actually got some emails from you guys. Bill, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So this one is from Jason. Invincible podcast. It's hard for me to come up with the right words to convey my feelings on Invincible ending. It's sad, but at the end of the day, I would rather Invincible have a good ending in Kirkman's hands than any other alternative. I could ramble about how much Invincible means to me and how important I think having a superhero comics where consequences matter and characters grow is to an industry run amok with relaunches and reboots, but I will just say that when Invincible ends, I think I'm going to stop picking up monthly comic books. My favorite series ending seems like a good time to start saving money and getting out of a hobby and getting a real job. He didn't say that. Getting out of a hobby that sometimes leads to more frustration than joy. I hope the podcast will continue the legacy of Invincible even when the book is gone. You all have done a great job of growing a community for a comic that certainly deserves one, but I would understand if the podcast won't continue after the series. You have my support in whatever you do. Also, congratulations on getting married. Love, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. And he didn't say love again.
They always say love. So let's talk
Thanks,
about.
Jason. He actually has written into us before. That's awesome. But TJ, you have an email I want you to read before we.
Yeah, Zane Prague is very active in our Invincible
Zane,
podcast.
Niall, Jason, we've got loyal
podcast
listeners.
community. So
You guys.
we appreciate that. So I already read a comment from him on Facebook and from Zane on Facebook, and here's an email that he sent. Just wanted to express my support for the podcast and hope you guys continue with different material when the comic ends. I still listen because you guys do a great show.
Yeah,
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, we have over a year to be doing this, and I've seen a couple people ask, whether or not we're going to still be doing this. Over a year is a long time. We've only been doing this for like 4 months now, so triple the time that we've already been doing it. Things will probably change, but as of right now, we've got a lot of content to cover. We've got a lot of tie-ins. We've got the new reader series that they've got to catch up on. And who knows what other Invincible news is going to be announced by then. So as of this, we're going to keep going.
As of now, you have us until at least the end of next year. So
and that's if nothing gets pushed back.
That's as of now. That's twice a month. So we have a lot of episodes still coming.
There's still going to be plenty of
episodes.
stuff, and as it gets closer, there'll be more news on what we're going to be doing next, or
We might have tie-ins by then. We might have more.
Yeah.
They might continue the comic book. We don't know. We hope that they don't, but if they do, maybe we'll still be here.
Yeah, I think that it's nice that people are concerned.
Yeah, I know.
About the
That's great.
podcast.
Thanks.
Someone actually texted us that listens to it. One of
Right.
our friends was like, "Oh, well, sorry for you guys." I'm like, "What the fuck? First of all, this is about Invincible, not about the podcast."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And second of all, fuck, you're right.
And on and when Skybound asked our thoughts on it, my response on it that was on that that compiled list of Twitter responses, mine was basically saying that I'm sad to hear the news, but excited where it's going to go, and that doesn't mean that we don't have all those past issues. They don't disappear, but he is invincible after all. So it will go on, and we're with you guys at least till the end. So
The end of all things.
Now we've got another email.
Fuck you, Ryan.
oh shit, this shit got real. TJ just broke a bottle on the table. Can't hear it. 'cause
couldn't hear
we
it.
edited it out. Ryan's really good at editing.
Yeah. We got another email. This is from our friend Mike Barrett, who was on the podcast recently. He wrote to us and said, "Hey guys, a moment of silence for the very sad news Mr. Kirkman gave us all recently." I was actually seeing how long we can go. Okay, now that that's
what she
over.
Oh,
Okay, now that that's over, I'm sure you'll be discussing all the recent news about an Invincible ending late next year. Aside from the sadness and overall bummed feeling we all have about our favorite comic coming to an end, I have a couple questions. So here's some questions from Mike Barrett. Do either of you? All right. So, what writer would you like Ryan Ottley to work with next?
Here's the thing. I'm gonna name like the best writers, and that's
Well,
just
we don't
what it is.
we don't
Like,
know a ton in the comic industry. Like
you know one of like my number. If I could put him with anybody, it's gonna be Jeff Loeb. One of
Really?
the-
That's
oh
not who
my
I thought
gosh.
you'd say.
I'm
That's awesome.
comic book writers.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
here's the
comic book
thing.
writer.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
Joss Whedon has
Yes,
done
Joss
comic
Whedon would
books,
be
so
insane.
absolutely I would put him with Joss Whedon. But if Joss Whedon wanted to do a comic book, I would hope that he would connect with Ottley. But we're talking about. I mean, Jeff Loeb does both. Too.
Oh, yeah,
he
Jeff
does
Loeb is cool.
He does everything. He does TV, movies.
I think
but,
he's tied up with the DC Cinematic Universe.
Yeah,
now.
but I mean,
he's the one. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Jeff
right. Yeah.
Loeb did in I
did
think
Smallville,
mine,
right?
I think in all of our opinions, Jeff Loeb wrote the greatest Batman
Yes.
series that we've story that we've ever read, which is Hush. And yeah, I if Ottley did something like Hush, I mean, obviously Jim Lee did Hush, and you can't. I wouldn't want to change Hush at all. But Ottley on something similar to that, Batman related, would be ridiculous.
Bill, do you have
I
anything?
think he'd be really strong with someone like Mark Millar. Is it Millar or
Mark
Miller?
Millar.
Mark
Mark
Miller.
Miller.
Yeah.
Like
I thought that too. That'd be
Mark
cool.
Miller, I mean, from a writing standpoint and just from like a content, what it's usually like, they're super brutal, and
Yeah,
I
Mark Miller
think,
likes
yeah,
blood.
I think
So
Ryan
does
Ottley
Ottley.
would be, but I think Ryan Ottley should maybe do Ryan Ottley. Like, I liked Grizzly Shark.
Yeah.
I fucking
that
liked
would be
it
cool
a
if he
lot.
did his own thing.
And I think that it would be interesting for him to do, like, maybe
his own.
create his own thing that's, like, not a joke. Like, because it was a 3-part fucking
and
joke.
he's been working with Kirkman for over 10 years or whatever, and you'd think, he knows good writing. He knows how to storyboard and put this stuff together.
Yeah.
A couple of the writers that I thought of, Kieran Gillen, he did Wicked and Divine. I loved his writing style and the way they, wrote that series. And then, of course, Brian K. Vaughan, Saga, Why the Last Man. He's done some amazing stuff as well. So, Mike Barrett also said... I feel like I have to say his last name every time I say his name. Mike Barrett.
We talked about this, I feel like, when he was on the podcast. Did we?
I don't remember.
Mike Barrett? Oh, no, it was the one guy who wrote in...
Oh, well, that was...
Big Lips?
No.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
J-Dog. It was J-Dog Big Gums.
Big Gums, that's right. Big Lips, Big Gums, that's all.
All right.
So
Mike,
funny thing about Mike Bigums that we were talking about, like he sounds like or whatever. What is his name?
J-Dog.
J-Dog
J-Dog
Bigums. Is that we were like he's got to be a black guy. So Ryan looked up or saw him online and texted me a picture of his profile picture and was like, so this is who he is, and I was like, that's not who he is. It was a picture of Mark Henry, the world's strongest man,
which then I realized
wrestler.
Yes. Then I realized it.
But Mark Henry, the wrestler, is the perfect depiction of what I would want
him to look like.
Bigums to look like.
Okay. Mike Barrett then wrote, do we think Kirkman and Ryan will work together ever again? Like, recently, like, will they do it right away? Will they do something else? Will you ever see Kirkman and Ryan Ottley doing something again?
First of all, I don't know if we'll see Kirkman. Okay, that's him. Right? TJ just showed me a picture of who he's talking about.
Mark Henry.
But I don't know if Kirkman would do comics again. I feel like it's extremely time consuming.
Really? You think he's going to start
I think that
reading
he's
out?
going to maybe start writing screenplays or maybe something else.
So you're saying no
I'm saying no to Kirkman coming back
from his side
to comics.
Well,
TJ seems to disagree with me.
Yeah, I do, because, I mean, you think that he's going to also give up Outcast and Walking Dead?
Yeah.
I think he's a comic book writer, and that's why he is who he is, and that's why he's,
he's doing less and less, maybe.
He's doing less and less. He's cut. Dude, he was doing, like, a bunch of comics at one point, especially in the Invincible universe, and then, like, slowly, like, he's doing Outcast still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's you should just stop. All right. I don't read it.
Oh, you
I don't read it. I don't read it, but fuck it.
You read one, or you
didn't
watched.
read it.
You
watched
watched
the one
the last
episode.
episode.
No, I read the first issue.
Yeah, we
Okay.
But I think if he was to do a collaboration, I think that he would.
What do you think, TJ?
Absolutely.
Do you think they would work together again, or will work together again?
I think 100% they're going to work together again. I don't know.
Really?
I don't think it's going to be on a continuing series, but I absolutely disagree that Kirkman's done with writing. I think he's a comic book writer at heart, and I think that's what he is, and why he is who he is, and why Walking Dead became what it is, why Outcast became what it is, because he's an idealist. He comes up with these ideas, and they take it, and I think that he knows who he is.
But wouldn't you rather see Kirkman do in other forms, like movies or TV, with what he did with comics?
But
because
I think
he did
doing
change.
that. He did that. What was the I could be completely wrong about this, but Kirkman, didn't he write the movie, which
Air.
was never he wrote Air, which was never a comic book. It was a movie. And I mean, with that being said, not really.
Did you see Air? Did you watch it?
But I heard
didn't
not
either.
great things.
I actually heard it was all right.
I heard it was just okay as well.
Yeah.
But I'm talking
I'd like to
about
see it.
like
I wanna.
like direct, and maybe that's a far ways off. I mean, he's a young guy still in terms of like that kind of thing. But I would love to see Kirkman do with movie tropes and like he just said like Invincible was created to completely turn comics into the upside down. You know what I mean? I went there. I did.
I'm actually surprised to hear you say that, because my rebuttal question to you is... Rebuttal question is, what has Kirkman done live action that you've liked, that you thought was exceptional?
Season 1 of Walking Dead.
Really? You like that finale?
No,
That was good to you?
no. But
You like Andrea at the end
He
there?
wasn't. No, fuck that. He wasn't. In, but that's what I'm saying. He was not in creative control. Like Invincible, from cover to cover, is Kirkman.
But
he directed
he's
that
never
shit.
had
He wrote.
complete control of anything.
That's what I'm saying. I would love to see him in complete creative control over something like.
So-
and you
create
think that that's
something.
where he's going to go?
Yeah, I do. I think that
I
he's.
disagree.
All right, well, put a pin in that because we're going to come back to
We're
that in
gonna
just a second.
Take this pin.
Yeah, hold TJ.
Put it right
TJ,
in that.
Here, take it.
Got it? You got the pen?
thank you.
Put it
No,
on
hold
the
it.
big, expensive billboard that we have. That's the noise
Not
it makes.
Because Mike Barrett had one final question. He wants to know how this announcement will affect the collector's market, like original art and covers and stuff like that. Issue 1 of Invincible. Will Invincible prices skyrocket?
Okay.
You demon.
Yeah, I'm going to go first.
Go for
I'm
it.
going to use an example in another medium in
Okay.
TV in Breaking Bad. TJ and I watched Breaking Bad from, I think, season 2 on, right? Like, we watched
Well,
the box
no.
set.
We watched it from the beginning, but we started watching it while it was in its second season. But
Right.
yeah, of course, we started with the first
So,
episode.
so episode to episode. Breaking Bad did not gain fandom until fucking season 4, and it ended on season
it was
5.
like season 3.
Season,
Yeah,
but
3,
still,
yeah.
but its ratings were nothing and anything like that. And then as soon
It just
as
skyrocketed.
as soon as it got towards mostly to the end there, it fucking blew up. And it started to just like take off, and now everybody's like Breaking Bad, Breaking Bad, Breaking
The
Bad.
finale was like, everybody on Facebook was like, Breaking Bad party tonight. We went to a Breaking Bad finale party.
That's fucking maddening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, and this is what I thought after 24 hours of this had to sink in. I was thinking of other things that announced its ending that had a clear road, and it was
Like
going to
Breaking
end
Bad.
here, like Breaking Bad or Avatar: The Last Airbender. That just were fucking amazing, and just so much fandom started towards the end. And I think that Invincible, I'm hoping, will gain that kind of momentum. You know what I mean? Where it's announced at the end, we got Liz and Britt into it,
Yeah.
and there's a ton of other people that are starting to read it. It sucks because it's in a forum like comics that not everybody's into.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm hoping that once the 12-issue arc starts, or even in the middle of it, like, hopefully it just blows the fuck up.
Yeah.
And
What do you think, TJ? Do you think this will affect the market? Do you think prices for Invincible related stuff's
I
going to
mean,
go up?
I think it's going to affect it in a way, but what I think is going to happen is that a lot of the original art, a lot of certain things are going to go up over the next couple months, and then I think they're going to drop.
Yes. I'm kind of with you on that. I think the next month or so that prices are going to be up.
It's because the fans like
and
us
then
are.
I think things like
Right.
issue 1, issue 2, those issues and such will maintain the price they're at now. They might go up for a little bit, but then they're going to level back out. Walking Dead did that. When Walking Dead became huge, it skyrocketed, and then it kind of leveled out, to a little bit more reasonable prices. So thanks again, Mike Barrett. Again, got to say his full name. Don't know why. TJ, can you have that pin?
Oh.
Oh, that was weird. So you guys were talking about. No. Okay.
put the pin back in, then take it out, put it in, and then take it out.
You guys were talking about Invincible and other mediums. Since this got announced, we haven't talked on the podcast. At San Diego Comic-Con, a fan asked Kirkman about Invincible in other mediums, and Kirkman's response was, "Something is coming, be patient." So what do you guys think of this? Like, I talked to Brittany and Liz about this. That was huge. When that was announced, everyone was like, whoa, what? And then shortly after that, someone on the Skybound panel mentioned that they have some animated series things or animated something in the works. There was I recently stumbled on, thanks to Reddit, the video. I think actually, was it Niall that said it? Anyways, a video from a few months ago of IGN interviewing the head of one of the heads at Skybound, and they said they're actively looking into putting Invincible into a video game. Yeah, these are all things and such. What do you guys think?
I think that the original question that the fan asked Kirkman was, is Invincible going to go into other mediums? And he said something is coming. Now, I understand why some people might think that that means he was talking about something is coming in other mediums, but I think that this news that it is ending was his answer to that question. I think the answer is no, it's not going to, because it's ending.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that.
Before this conversation started, TJ, I would have completely disagreed with you in normal fashion, because I think most of the time you're wrong, right? So
I'm always right.
most of the time you're incorrect. Like right now, it's a prime example of how you're wrong.
Oh.
Like right now.
How I'm wrong about how I'm always wrong.
However,
I'm always right.
He's got you there.
Yeah. Fuck you, Bill.
What were you saying?
Again.
About?
okay. Fuck. Oh, anyways, after we started to talk about this, I feel like you could be right about this one time, where he's like, something is coming, maybe you should just wait to ask me these types of questions. But it was specific as to
so
what
now,
about an animated...
what I think about this, and no, the animated thing was separate from that, but my thoughts on this is, normally the PR speak, if somebody says, oh, you know, is something coming in other mediums or anything like that, and the answer is no, the PR speak is generally, oh, we're always open to possibilities, that we have nothing to announce right now.
No comment kind of
Well,
thing.
not even no comment, but he would say it like, there might be something coming, but we don't have anything to announce right now. I think the fact that he said like something is coming, be patient, like this is in the works, like something is coming. He answered it in such a direct way that I really do think that there's something else. Now
He didn't
the
say
other
something
thing
is in the works.
No, but I'm putting my own words into it.
Paraphrasing is what
But-
it is, TJ.
But what I'm thinking is like next year at San Diego Comic-Con, because I feel like every year someone might go up to Kirkman and say, what about Invincible in other mediums? Full knowing that it's ending. And I feel like that's not a weird question to ask, and I feel like this isn't a weird response to give even after we know. Like if they had announced that the end was coming and he still gave this response still makes sense. This could still mean that something is coming. And I think that, and we've touched on this throughout tonight's episode, but Invincible ending and being buttoned up in a way and not expanding, no spin-offs, none of that stuff, that's actually perfect. Now that it's over, this is a final book. You can have this on your shelf. This is everything. Let's adapt this into an animated short or a Netflix animated something. Like now that it's finished, because before you're tying it into an ongoing thing. I can see how this could still work. And like Bill, you were just saying, like I just thought of this based on what you said. Breaking Bad's hype train was towards its end. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they sold 10 times the amount of merchandise and everything like that once the end was announced. This was pretty big. This was trending on Twitter. Invincible was trending on Twitter. Like this might be a big deal, like you're saying. Like the end might be a big deal. So what better way to announce the show, and then people get in touch into the show. The comic ends at its own pace, and wraps up, and then the show and everything else can go on.
I think that anything's possible. It can happen,
Yeah,
but I don't know why they would end it with another medium already in mind.
Because you think one would help the other,
right? But that's not the case. They're not creating another medium
to help the comic.
Because they're ending the comic.
Yeah.
That's why I disagree.
No, I get that, and I can see what you mean.
You're investing everything into another medium, but ending the comic. I mean, you're taking the chance that this other medium is going to blow up, and people are going to want to go back to the comic, and they go back to the comic, but there's already an ending.
But what you just said kind of proves the point to where, what if this is Kirkman's next big thing? Like, what if he wants to take it somewhere else? Because if you think about it, like the show is going to catch up with the comic, and then Walking Dead, I'm talking about. I'm sorry, and it's like really hard to juggle the two storylines. Like there's things that the show is doing this differently that Kirkman's still attached to, like doing both of them.
And on top of all this, maybe he is done writing Invincible. Ryan Ottley wants to be done. They want to go out on a high note. This is something that they can button this up, but they're not getting rid of the Invincible brand, maybe they are going to just take the Invincible brand and do something else. There's still a rabid fan base for Invincible who will, you can still introduce new people to the animated movie. And then just like any other movie based on a book, the book's done. You can fall in love with the show, the movie, and then go back and find the book because it'll be a finished, complete thing on a shelf. I've talked to fans before where, people who haven't read comics, and I remember a long time ago getting somebody into Walking Dead, and I gave them the first trade, and they were like, what do you mean there's more? And then I was like, oh yeah, there's at the time, 8 more of these. And he was like, oh, I don't want that kind of commitment. It's kind of nice to say, hey, look, here's these 3 compendiums. I know it's still a lot. Here's these issues. It is done. You can read it and it'll be done. Now when I introduce people to Invincible, or at least as of last week, I'd introduce people to Invincible, and they'd be like, well, how long is it? And I'd be like, well, it's 100 and some issues. I mean, it's still going, and it's a commitment. And I think it might be a little bit easier pill to swallow. And I don't think it's completely out of the question. Then again, TJ, I think it absolutely makes sense. He could say something is coming in terms of Invincible news that will answer the. It is vague.
What I don't like
see.
about this conversation is that we'll never get an answer to this unless it happens.
Something comes out. Yes.
Like 5 years from now, we can be all sitting around and being like, you never know. I mean, Ottley still talks about Invincible
Honestly,
and how he misses it, and like, you know what I mean? Like it's.
I think next year, if they were asked the same question at San Diego Comic-Con, he would give the same response. But after Invincible's over, I could see them saying, no, things didn't work out. They're not going to keep everybody going. Like, because people do ask often, is anything else coming for Invincible?
Yeah, he would like a year after it's done. Like, I don't think Kirkman would be like, you never know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he'd be like, no, dude,
so
the
I
ship
think
has
someday
sailed.
we will. But you're right, TJ. I bet we're going to get an announcement that something is happening before we get an announcement that something isn't.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think someone might ask him even before Comic-Con and him be like,
True.
there's no plans as of yet.
I think this is going to be a topic way sooner than we.
Like somebody's going to be like,
I
hey,
agree.
remember
It's
that
gonna-
thing?
It's going to happen before San Diego.
Oh, fuck yeah. It's going to happen
I hope.
Because
Put us out of our misery.
Right, exactly.
Wow. In 2 weeks, next week, we've got a new issue coming out, So in 2 weeks, the next issue or the next podcast episode will come out and we'll be talking all about the next issue. What were you going to say, Bill?
Oh, no, what I was going to say is gone in my brain. But what I'm going to say now is that, there's still a lot to talk about. About this topic, like I feel like we could go on and on and on and on and on about it.
Could. I think that
but I feel like write in, you know what I mean? Not just if your name is Jason or Zane
or Niall, which we appreciate. That's still awesome.
Or Mike
Keep
Barrett
writing in.
or McGums,
especially
McBigums,
the guys that have been writing in consistently.
Martini.
I want to know. I asked Bill and TJ, and we all answered what our one thing is, and I think there was something on the Reddit page about your bucket list. What is one or two things? Let's keep it shorter because we can go on forever. But I want the important things. What do you want to see happen before the end? Write in. Let us know. I'd love to read those on the air and get us talking about how we want to see the same, or we didn't even think about that, or Also write in. Tell us what you thought your reactions were. This is exciting, and we're all in it together, and it's going to be one hell of a ride.
Again, to reiterate, this topic could go on forever, but again, we're not done. We're going to continue this. A question that I think we need to talk about is what we think the end is going to be. But we have a lot of new issues coming where we're going to be talking about the end a lot. So definitely stay tuned and
we'll talk about
keep
this
listening
more off the air. But I was kind of thinking of maybe doing an episode after Corey Walker's run, right before the 12-part, finale begins, and kind of talk about all the things we think might happen, because we have questions that will probably be answered in the next 3 issues, but we'll see. This is going to be fun, and like I said earlier in the podcast, this is the most excited I've been about Invincible since Conquest. This is going to be a really great 15 months
wrap up.
Yeah. I think I want to end the podcast this episode with talking about what we'll miss. What is one thing, if Invincible does end in November of next year, when, December, January comes after that final issue, what are you going to miss most about Invincible?
It's Invincible is Invincible. Everything that makes it up. I'm going to miss Ryan Ottley's art once a month, drawing characters that I love and are written well by Robert Kirkman. It's kind of the culmination of just what it is. I wouldn't be able to pick it apart. It's just I'm going to miss this comic.
Mm-hmm. Bill?
I talked about how it's a one-stop shop, for what you need in the story, but I just there hasn't been another comic that I think I've ever read that I've cared about every character. Every character that's on every panel is someone who I care about. And the most ridiculous things that I never think that I'd like: Battle Beast, Dinosaurus. Come the fuck on. How can you write something so awesome about such a stupid fucking character? You know what I mean? And then turning it into something so epic. And I don't know if we're ever going to see a superhero comic book as well-rounded as Invincible.
Yeah, and I know that's a tough question to answer, and I know we're all kind of feeling the same thing. Like, it is the culmination of the art, the writing, like the characters. This is, what we're going to miss, as well as this. This is what I'm going to miss, talking about it. Like, having that. I remember I was sitting at a restaurant with you, Bill, when I pitched the idea for the podcast to you, and I was like, we can talk for an hour about an episode or about an issue. Like, we can go on and on about one issue. Like this, being able to share these conversations and talk about all of them, and just gathering around and talking about it. That's what I'm going to miss most is being able to share Invincible with everybody. But like I said earlier, that's not going away. We're still going to be able to share it long after it's done.
That's with anything, though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You miss it. You miss it. I miss once a week sitting down to watch Breaking Bad. Like, I miss watching.
But it's not just the watching or the reading. It's
the discussion.
It's the
discussion. It's the discussion.
Which is what this podcast is.
Right, and this will never. I hate to say this, but like, I don't think it'll ever end. You know what I mean? Like, the discussion and the topics, because there's just so much. There's so many new people that need to know about Invincible.
Yep. So that's a great place to end it. Thank you all for listening. This was an awesome discussion, guys. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, TJ. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter. We are. You can send us emails at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. Write in, tell us what you think. We appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you so much. And we're done. Bye.
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 Bye.